Hey Stampers, Diane Dimich here with DDStamps.com, and I want to welcome you tonight to my online workshop. I am really excited about the projects that I planned for tonight. It's a lot of fun, and I'm using mostly using the Happy Scenes stamp set and the window framelits. It was just a lot of fun well, I shouldn't say this week because it only happened within the last 24 hours to plan the workshop and get all the videos done. But I want you to notice the back table, because yesterday I did a little video just announcing this event and it was a mess. So I am hoping that people are out there and can hear me and see me. So if you can, I would appreciate it if you'd post something down below. We're having some changes in our internet, some cable changes, and so I just want to make sure that people can hear me and see me. So I hope so. I'll just wait to see if I hear from somebody, but sometimes you just never know. Okay, so if you can, go ahead and post down in the comments wherever you are. If you're on YouTube, I can follow the comments there. If you're on my website, I can follow the comments there. If you are on Facebook, you just comment below and I can actually see those, and I will keep tabs tonight of all of those various places. So hopefully somebody out there can see and hear me. I have not, oh, yep, somebody else on YouTube can hear me. That's awesome. I haven't seen anybody on Facebook at this point say if they can hear me. Oh, good. Dorothy can hear me. Debbie can hear me. Francis. Awesome. Thanks for, Francie says, nice job cleaning your table. I know, right? I'll be honest, it happened late this afternoon. So anyway, lots to show tonight, like I said, with that Happy Scenes. And so we're gonna go ahead and get started. Oh wait, I did have a question. We're gonna wait because Carol sent me a question beforehand. I don't know if you noticed, but in the email that I send out, I do say if you have a question and you may not be able to make the actual event, you could send it to me. Or even if you would rather just send me a question, I could help. I could get that answered for you during the event. So the question she asked was, why do thinlits move around on the magnetic platform? And the reason that is especially if they're little tiny thinlits or framelits or little pieces, it's because I should have grabbed it. I'll grab it next time. But the magnetic platform, say this is the magnetic platform. The magnets are like spaced all over, and they're spaced. Try to space them close enough. But if it's a little object, it will actually pull to whatever is the strongest magnet. Does that make sense? So how I deal with that is I put the paper down and then let the magnet kind of go where it needs to go. And then if I'm working on a stamped image, I just kind of shuffle the paper underneath there. But it's usually those smaller magnets that make it jump, I guess is the best word for it. So I hope that answers your question. Sometimes with my little tiny, I'm telling you, they have to be pretty little. I will tape them down with little painter's tape because sometimes they just jump and there's not much you can do. So I hope that answers your question, Carol. And honestly, anybody that has questions, please feel free to post them down anywhere you are, YouTube, my website, or on Facebook. So, okay, now we're gonna get started. So let me pull up my screen here. Okay, so this is the actual stamp set that I'm really showcasing tonight. Oh, good. Good. It sounds like lots of people can hear and see me, so that's awesome. Coming in loud and clear down in Texas. Hi, Lynette. Glad you made it. Lucy's here. Crystal's here. Sonia here. Okay, so Lynette asked, how can you tell without looking it up which is a framelit and which is a thinlet? That is funny, Lynette, because today I was thinking the same thing. And I wondered what's the difference between the framelits and the thinlits. And this is the only thing I can come up with. A framelit makes a frame around something, and a thinlet punches out an image. Now, that would be my explanation, but I'm not really sure if that's Stampin' Up's explanation. But I look at it that way. If it's going to frame something, it's a framelit. If it's going to cut something out, it's a thinlet. Or if it's thin, like the words that we have, I don't know if that's correct. I'll try to look it up when I'm showing the first video. Lynette, way to stump me. But I do laugh because I thought that same thing yesterday when I was doing some of the videos. Okay, so the first project uses one of the stamps in that stamp set, but then it uses this wood something First person that gives me the name of what this embossing folder is gets this card in the mail. This is a card that I made with it, and I just wanted to show you how you can put objects behind the birch trees. So that's what this video is about. And I am going to get the video started.
Hi Stampers, Diane Dimich here with DDStamps.com, and today I'm going to show you how I did this card. It is using an embossing folder called Woodlands, which is this one here from Stampin' Up. And also I brought in a set, Happy Scenes. And so I'm going to show you how I took these two products and had them work together. So to begin with, I'm going to take in my Woodland stamps or embossing folder, and I'm also using, for this technique, I'm actually using a piece of the shimmery white cardstock, and I don't know if you can see that, but it has a little shimmer to it. It just is really, it's a beautiful piece of cardstock. But I'm going to do a little bit of watercoloring, and I like the shimmery white because it holds up so well with water. And I'm coming in with some Mossy Meadow ink and Soft Sky. Those are the two colors that I'm going to use today. So to begin with, I'm going to look at my embossing folder, and these pieces in here are flat, and the actual tree trunk is a valley. So you want to be, I want to be using, I'm going to be stamping on this part here, the flat part. So I want to make sure that that's the part that's up, and I'm going to ink up my little trees here. And then I'm going to take them and I'm going to stamp directly onto this embossing folder. And you can see that I'm just using Stampin' Up's regular classic ink. So it won't dry on that embossing folder. If you use a permanent ink, it's going to dry, and that's not going to make you very happy. So you're going to lay your cardstock in there, fold down your embossing folder, and then I'm going to run this through the Big Shot. I will be right back. Now I ran that through the Big Shot, and just so you're aware, when I put my folders, you'll see it still has some green ink on there, so you're going to need to clean that off. But when I run my folders through my Big Shot, I always make sure that the seam of the embossing folder is the part that goes in first. That way, if you go the opposite way, sometimes this will crack because this will all get pushed towards this way if it's not perfectly lined up. So if you start with the seam going in first, that's your best bet. And then go right through your Big Shot. So what I have here now is a piece of the shimmery white cardstock with the trees actually behind, or the pine trees behind the birch trees. And I love the look of this, but what really makes this card pop is when you come in with some ink and an aqua painter, and this is why I use the shimmery white. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and, an aqua painter has water in the tube here, and if you just give it a little squeeze, that water starts to come out, and then you've got a great brush for watercoloring. But I'm just going to put a little ink on there and then run it down right in between those tree trunks. And so the tree trunks will kind of help keep that watercolor exactly where you want it. And I'm just going to start at the top and work my way down. And it doesn't matter that that has stamping on it because it'll bleed out a little bit, but that's okay because this little part of the hill would be a little bit darker. So you're just going to go ahead and watercolor all my grassy areas. And then I'm going to clean this off, and how I do that is I just run it onto a piece of scrap paper. I'll just grab another piece of paper, and you just write with it on there until it shows clear. And then I'm going to come in with the blue, and this I want to be a real light blue. And this time I'm actually going to start on the side of the trees. And this is what makes those birch trees just pop, because it really highlights that they're there. And again, that embossing helps to keep the trees, or the ink, the blue ink, exactly where you want it. And you just keep going through the whole thing. And there you have it, just a really quick watercolor painting. And what you want to do is you want to be very careful around these trees because they will bleed out a little bit if you get them wet. So I took a piece, this cardstock was actually 4 by 5 1/4, and then I just mounted it right onto that pool party. And that's how you get this look of the birch trees with the pine trees behind it. And you could stamp anything behind those. But just a fun technique, pretty easy to do. I just love this embossing folder. So I hope you enjoyed that.
Okay, so that is the first card, and I have to laugh because I had actually had somebody message me what they believe is the difference between the thinlets and the framelets, and I think that she's right. So Christine sent me a message on Facebook, and she says that she thinks, I thought it was that framelets are solid images and thinlets are the more delicate images. So for instance, the delicate ornaments compared to like the butterfly cutouts of the solid butterfly. And I think she's right, because I looked through the holiday mini catalog, and it looks like framelets are anything that cuts out an image. I think I had it backwards. And thinlets are words or like the little delicate ornaments and that kind of stuff. So way to go, Christine. Good job, good job. I had 2 people. I actually am going to pick 2 tonight because number 1, sometimes people on YouTube feel left out, and I don't want that. And number 2, I had, sorry, I'm looking at something else. I had, I think they came at the same time. So Carpe Diem 2628 on YouTube. If you will send me your address in a message or an email, and it's Diane at DDStamps.com is my email, I will get that one of those cards out to you in the mail. And then the other winner on Facebook was Rhonda Vanek. Congratulations, Rhonda. And Rhonda, I have your address, so don't worry about that. Heather asked over on YouTube, do you think Stampin' Up! Will eventually change over exclusively to make their stamps in photopolymer? Well, that's interesting. Okay, so that question was asked when I was down at Founder Circle a couple weeks ago. And right now, it's about 50-50. In sales. So rubber stamps as opposed to photopolymer stamps are about 50-50 in sales. I don't see them going totally photopolymer. I really don't. 50% of the people still love rubber stamps. And I personally do love rubber stamps, although I like my photopolymers. So no, I don't believe that they will, but never say never. So not in the near future. They were putting out rubber stamps like you would not believe down there in St. George, and they informed us that they make approximately 70,000 stamp sets a day, which I find that incredibly a lot, but who knew? Oh, thanks. People thought it was very cool the way that I did the watercoloring. Yeah, easy card, really super easy. Lots of people said Woodlands. Looks like Della can't comment. Okay, so anyway, there you have it. Let me get up here and share my screen again. And like I said, if you have questions, please feel free to ask away as the night goes on. I think I'm getting people from like Facebook messaging me too. Weird. Okay, so anyway, just so you're aware, these are the supplies that I used to make the Woodlands Happy Scenes card. I love the technique. I will make these slides available after the workshop, and these slides will be right. Actually, I'll put them on my website, and I'll also put them down on Facebook. And you can click through these and you can rewatch the videos, but these are nice because they're actually clickable links, and it also gives you the supply list. So there you have that. I will be, okay, so the next card, this is one of my favorite cards, and I actually didn't mean to have this come up second, but I love it so much. It's a shaker card, and it's so easy to do that I decided today I just wasn't going to change it. It looked fine, and some people look at shaker cards and kind of panic, but this one is so easy. Wait till you see the quick tip I got for you. Okay, here we go. Oh, my slides moved.
Hey Stampers, Diane Dimich here with DDStamps.com, and today I'm going to show you a very simple and easy shaker card. They're a lot of fun because they have a little movement to them. So you can see by this one, it's a winter scene outside of a window, and that window actually does shake around and make for snow, but then it also piles up onto the window frame. And I love this technique, and I think you're going to be shocked how easy it is. So to begin with, I used the stamp set Happy Scenes from Stampin' Up, and this does have a framelit set that goes with it. It's the window and the windowsill. And just a quick to show you how I store my framelits is they come with this in this nice little pocket with this piece of chipboard, and I pull those framelits off, and then I add a piece of magnetic sheet.
Was that me? Yes, sorry. I was trying so good too. Let's try it again.
Hey Stampers, Diane Dimich here with DDStamps.com, and today I'm going to show you a very simple and easy shaker card. They're a lot of fun because they have a little movement to them. So you can see by this one, it's a winter scene outside of a window, and that window actually does shake around and make for snow, but then it also piles up onto the window frame. And I love this technique, and I think you're going to be shocked how easy it is. So to begin with, I used the stamp set Happy Scenes from Stampin' Up, and this does have a framelit set that goes with it. It's the window and the windowsill. And just a quick to show you how I store my framelits is they come with this in this nice little pocket with this piece of chipboard, and I pull those framelits off, and then I add a piece of magnetic sheet. And this is actually magnetic sheet. They're called heat vent covers, and they're sold at Home Depot or Lowe's or any of the hardware stores. They come in pretty good sized sheets, and I just cut them down to size, attach them right back onto that chipboard, and then my framelits will actually hold onto that magnetic, and I can see exactly when I file them away what's in that pack. So there's just a really quick tip there. So to begin with, I am using a card base of Whisper White, and this was a half a sheet. So it was 8.5 by 11, cut at 5.5, scored at 4 1/4, and then folded in half, and that gives me my base. And then I'm using a piece of this Designer Series paper from the Season of Cheer Designer Series paper, and it's actually a Christmas pack, but you will notice when you look at the paper, some of it is very Christmassy and some of it is not. It can be used year-round, and so I'm actually using this piece because it kind of reminded me of a nice piece of wallpaper, and I wanted that window to look like it was looking outside, inside the house looking out. And so I cut this piece down to 4 by 5 1/4, and that's just going to lay on there to give me my base. And then the rest of that is put together with a few other little pieces. I've got a Night of Navy that I'm going to cut my window out with. I've got a window sheet from Stampin' Up that I'm actually going to use as my window. And then a piece of shimmery white cardstock. Because I'm doing a little watercoloring on this project, I love our shimmery white cardstock for watercoloring because it has a little coating to it, and so things work really well and it holds up to water. So I'm using the shimmery white, and I've actually cut this at 2.5 by 3 1/4, and this is going to layer right behind that window frame. Same size as my window sheet for the window. You'll see they're the same size, and so those will layer nicely right behind the window framelit. And then the big deal that I'm using is a piece of fun foam. This is how I make my shaker cards now, and I love it because it's, number one, it's easy, but it holds up well when you mail them. So to begin with, I am going to show you how I cut the framelit. So I'm going to come in with my Big Shot. I probably shouldn't have had all this stuff in the way to begin with. Let me zoom out here a little bit so you can see what I'm doing. I've got my platform and a clear base, my piece of fun foam, and then I'm coming in with the framelit. And the framelit, because the fun foam is thin enough and it's, you know, it's it'll squish down, you can use your framelits to cut out your shapes. So I love that about that. And then I'm just going to go ahead and run this through the Big Shot. I didn't really leave myself a whole lot of room here, so I'm going to move this out of the way. But when I come back with that piece of fun foam, here's the window shape cut out for me. And I can tell I need to clean my clear plates a little bit. So once I've got that cut out, this is going to be the base for my shaker card. So let me go cut a few more shapes. I'm going to cut another window, and then I will get ready to put it together and show you how easy that is. I'll be right back. Sorry, I cut that other window sheet so you can see that I have just a Night of Navy window, and then the fun foam, and then the piece of window sheet. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in with our tear and stick tape. I love this tape because it's such a great adhesive. But the best part is that it's so easy to use. I am going to go ahead and lay this down on that window all the way around. And once I've got that laid down, I'm just going to go ahead. It's great because these just pull right off. So I'll pull that off. And then I'm going to make sure that I don't have any adhesive onto the inside of these windows. So I'm just going to try to push it if there's any there. It's not terrible. And then I'm going to lay down my clear window sheet right over the top of that whole thing. Easy way to give yourself and make a window. So even just doing that looks great. And then if you had an image behind there, it would look fabulous. But the next thing I'm going to do, once I've done that, then I'm going to attach this piece, again, using my tear and tape. And then again, any of this, it's like this adhesive that came over, just fold it back over into the inside of the back of the window. And once you've done that, then you're going to take your fun foam. And the one thing that I did do on this other one, because I wanted those windowsills to have a little snow in them, I took my snail and ran it down the middle of my, you don't want to warp it, you don't want to make it too misshaped, but add a little adhesive to the inside of your windows there. And then this piece is actually going to get laid, and then it's just a matter of lining them up. Probably the hardest part of the whole project. Just get those lined up. And the one thing I did notice when I did this, it's nice because you can manipulate that fun foam behind there and make sure that you got them straight and that they're attached. One thing I did notice when that fun foam goes through the Big Shot, I think it stretches a little bit, and so this side happens to be just a little bit bigger. Sure, it has something to do with how it goes through the machine, but I just took a scissor and just trimmed that up. It's not terrible, and it probably wouldn't show up in the project to begin with, but I just like to clean it up. So there is your window frame. We'll set that aside. I'm going to come in with my shimmery white cardstock. I've got adhesive all over my paper here, but that's all right. And my image. So I'm using the tree with the little cardinals or little birds. And I'm going to stamp this down on this piece of cardstock. I love this archival black ink because it's such a nice black and it works great for watercoloring. And I'm actually going to come in with a little bit of soft sky. And I'm just going to go ahead and pick up some of that soft sky. And again, starting at the bottom, I'm just putting just a little shadow of a sky. Not a lot, just giving it a little bit of color. And again, right over that tree, and it won't matter because of that archival ink, that's not going to smear. That permanent ink. That's it. I just wanted to add just a little bit of color. We're going to let this dry for a minute. I'll be right back. Okay, so one of the things you can do to get your cardstock to dry quicker is you can just heat set it with a heat tool, or you can just set it aside to dry. But once that's done, I'm just gonna come in, and I wanted my birds to be red, so they really popped and showed up. And then here's where the magic starts. So what you're going to do is you're gonna flip over this piece, and we're gonna add, again, that tear and tape. And I might even go with just a little bit more adhesive along the bottom of these windows, and that is to help contain the glitter that I'm going to use for snow so that it stays in that section. So then we're going to pull these off. Once I've got that all pulled off, here's where the magic starts. So this is Dazzling Details. This is what the container looks like when we get it. This is actually how I store my Dazzling Details. I've had this Tupperware container probably since the first year I was a stamper. But when you open this up, this is where I also carry my little 1/4 teaspoon spoons. And I'm just going to take a little bit of that Dazzling Diamonds and drop them into each window like that. And really it depends on how much snow do you want. A lot or a little? A little more here. And once I've got that done, it's ready. So I'm going to take my stamped image. I'm actually going to flip it over and attach it to my window and seal it all up, making sure that all that snow stays inside there. That's how you make the shaker card. That's it. I mean, it's not very hard, and I love it with the fun foam. Then I'm just going to take a little adhesive, attach it to the front of my cardstock here, and then attach this to the front of that. And I'm actually probably just going to use, I mean, you could use the tear and tape. I'll just use snail because it's easy and it's sitting here. And attach that to the front of my card. And then I've got a really cute shaker card, and that snow will pile up right on those windowsills. And it's just fun to play with. So there you have it. It's very cute. It's very easy. Oh, the last thing I did is I actually came in with one of the stamps from the Happy Scenes stamp set. This one says Happy Winter. And I'm going to stamp that right down there. And there you have it. Happy Winter. Card is done. And the nice thing is that that is flat enough that that will go right through the mail with no extra postage. You may want to just put a piece of cardstock or something so that this doesn't catch it, but it should go right through the post office with no issues. So I'm going to post a list of all the supplies. Okay, I say I'm going to post a list of all the supplies, and I am, but like I said, I got a late start and I haven't done that yet, but I will get that done and I'll send out the link. I had a couple questions. Number one, don't you love that card? Look at it, it's so cute. I guess I must be, oh, you can't really see, there you can see the snow in the window. I know this seemed kind of a little confusing or a little more complicated, but use that fun foam for anything. And somebody did ask where I got fun foam, and I will tell you, this is what fun foam comes like. It's I don't know, foam. I purchased mine up at our local True Value or Ace Hardware, but you can also get them at any craft store would have fun foam. And it comes in all different colors. I have white and black. These are the colors that I had up here in our little town. So if our little town has fun foam, I can guarantee you that every little town across the country has fun foam because we don't always have everything. I had a couple questions and I want to answer those. Laura, I did see that your name, Carpe Diem, was Laura, and I'm hoping that you send me an email to let me know what your address is, and I will get that out to you. Julie loved the idea of the storing of the framelits, and let me show you what I did. I'm going to show you actually what I used. So this is the
magnetic vent covers that I use. And you can see they come big. They're like 8 by 15 inches. And so I cut them. Here's my windows. I use that sheet that comes with the framelits. This is a framelit set. There it is. So I just cut the magnets to fit that, and I can actually leave them on there like this. They stay better if I flip them over. Then they're not going anywhere. It's just a really easy way to store them. And then when I actually have these in like a box all lined up in like a recipe box thing, and then I can see exactly what I'm looking at. So I hope that answers the question. The other one that somebody posted up was the seam first with the embossing folders. Okay, so Stampin' Up's embossing folders, this one's a big one. But you want to make sure that the hinge, the seam, is going through your big shot first. And this is why. Because the pressure on that is going to push, and it's going to kind of push it out this end. But if you put it in this way first, see that little gap? And it starts to pressurize. If that's not totally lined up correctly, the pressure is going to hit here and it's going to crack. I have had one do that. I've only had one, and it just happened a couple weeks ago. I actually just added a little clear sealing tape onto the end and it works fine. Petra thinks there's a bug in here and she's acting like there is, but there's not. So, okay, so that was the next question. Lynette was happy to hear, to learn that new technique in the last one about stamping on the embossing folders. And again, I actually replied to her and said, I know. Thankfully, demonstrators are more than willing to share some of the stuff that they've done. So like I said, the stamping on, I've inked up my embossing folders and put them through. Have never tried stamping on them, but it works perfect with this Woodland embossing folder. And as far as the fun foam goes, I don't know where it came from. I don't know if I just decided to try it one time or if I learned it from somebody else. So there you have it. I think I got everybody's questions answered, I hope. And I hope you're enjoying learning some new techniques tonight. Since this set came out, I have thought that this is what I wanted to do with it. So I was thankful that I could finally start doing some other cards. And you'll notice that I did a card for each season. Well, not each season. Well, I guess I did spring. I guess you could call the first card spring. So there you have it. Oh, and here's the list of the products that I used. And like I said, these will be available after the show is over. Next card is obviously a fall autumn card. And again, if you have questions, please feel free to post them. I know some people are having some problems posting them on Facebook. What happens is, if you look at the top of the chat box, there's a little thing checked to say refresh. If you unclick that, they won't automatic. What happens is they automatically refresh like every 90 seconds. So if you're in the middle of typing and all of a sudden it refreshes, then all of your typing disappears. So if you click that or unclick it, I guess, then you can go ahead and type and hit post, and then you can always refresh it. I hope that makes sense. But that's why sometimes the comments don't work over on Facebook. Okay, so here's this card. This is actually a very simple card. This was actually the one I wanted to show before I showed you the shaker card. So here we go.
Hey Stampers, Diane Dimich here with DDStamps.com, and today I'm going to show you how easy it is to make this card using our Happy Scenes stamp set and our coordinating Hearth and Home framelits, which is the window and the windowsill. So let's get started. To begin with, I took a piece, on this one I'm doing a little bit of watercoloring, and so I took a piece of our shimmery white cardstock, and this is just a small piece. It's 2.5 by 3 1/4, and I will put all the measurements up on my website and the products I use, so you'll have that. You can just click click above there, and you'll have that. But that's what I'm using today to stamp with, because I like to use watercolor, and I like that cardstock because it holds up to water better. So I'm also bringing in our archival black ink, and this is new to the product line within the last month or so. It's an archival quality ink that is great for watercoloring And I just love it because it's so nice and black, and it works great with all of our stamps up, whether they're photopolymer or the rubber mount. So to begin with, like I said, I just stamped that with the archival black ink. And then I'm going to come in and I'm actually going to do a little watercoloring first, and then I'll come back in and color in a few of those items on there. So I'm using an aqua painter. This is just a watercolor brush that actually has water in the tube. You get 2 per pack. I like it because, number one, you get a continuous flow of water when you're watercoloring, and you also don't have the mess. So I'm just going to go in with a little bit of Mossy Meadow and pick up, oh, I should probably show that to you. So I just go right into the lid. I squeeze the lid of the ink pad, squeezed it down, and then when I open it up, I have a nice palette to use for watercoloring. And so I'm just going to pick up some of that. And I don't want it to be too dark, so that's why I blended it out here. And then I'm just going to go ahead and color it right onto my image, take it all the way down until it fades away. This is actually going to be down, a lot of this is going to be right below where it shows in the window. But you can just see how fast and easy this is to watercolor. And honestly, anybody can do this, especially using an aqua painter, because it does most of the work for you. And anytime I see a shadow, like under the pumpkin there, just make it a little bit darker to make it look like the shadow. Okay, so there's the grass done. Oh, I better do this side because I'm not really sure how much is going to show. I think that might show a little bit more. So I'll just blend that out a little bit. Okay, now to clean off the, aqua painter, you're just going to run it onto a piece of scratch paper until it runs clear. And then once it's clear, you can change out colors. So then I'm going to come in with some Pool Party. And we're going to do the same thing, only we're going to start at the bottom and work our way up. And remember, we can go ahead and get that wet in that tree where it's stamped. It's not going to bleed out because of that archival quality of that ink. And I'm just going to drag that. I see up here I got a little bit of the Mossy Meadow green specks on there. It must have happened when I closed the ink pad. But I'm just going to keep working because once I show you how to do this, it won't matter. So there you have your black background. And very simple to do. Again, you just...
Did I screw that up? I'm sorry. I am not sure. Let me fix it. Let me bring it back.
With the orange. Again, you're just going to wipe this onto a piece of cardstock to clean it off. And then I'm actually going to come in with a couple of markers. And this is the Tangelo Twist. And our markers are great because they have a bullet point on one side and a brush end on the other. I'm going to go ahead and use the brush end. And I am just going to color in my pumpkins. And then to dot a couple of these leaves with the orange. And then I'm going to come in with, do the same thing with the Mossy Meadow. Dot a couple of the leaves. I think I got them all. There you have it. So there's, that piece is colored and ready to go. And then what I did is I actually came in with that framelit set. And of course, it comes with the window and the windowsill. I'm just going to use the window for this project. And I'm using a piece of the Happy Haunting Designer Series paper, and I like this because it kind of looked like old wallpaper, and that's what I wanted it to look like. I wanted it to look like you're looking outside the window, and this is the wallpaper of the house. And so this is going to get attached directly to my piece of cardstock with some snail adhesive. And then I'm going to go ahead and cut the window out, and I'm using Tangelo Twist, and I'm just going to go ahead and run this through my Big Shot and cut out a window. Once I've got that cut out, you're going to go ahead and just pull this off the platform, and then the window, mine actually just pops out, which is great. But if it doesn't, it has these little holes that you can go ahead and poke out. And so now I've got my window done, and I've got all these little rectangles that I can use for something. I haven't decided what yet, but I'll figure out something. I'm going to take my piece of designer series paper. I'm going to attach my I'm going to go ahead and attach the piece that I watercolored. Just add that on there. I'm going to come in with a couple of dimensionals on the back of my window, and I am going to add dimensionals onto that. That'll just give a little lift to that window. And you know, if I really wanted to go all out, I could have put a window sheet back here to make it look like it was actually looking out a window, but I'm not sure that I needed that. And the nice thing about using this little window is that a lot of that green that I had messed up on and gotten it on my piece of cardstock is now covered up. That's how quickly it is to make a window. And then this is going to get attached. And I used a Very Vanilla card base, so I used a half a sheet of Very Vanilla, cut it 5 1/2, scored it 4 1/4, and folded, and that gives me my card base. And I can just attach that right down to my piece of cardstock, and my card is complete. So just a really fun and easy way to use the stamp set and that Friendlights together. And the nice thing is they come as a bundle, so you can save 15% by the purchase of the Happy Scenes and the Hearth and Home Framelit bundle. So I will post the supply.
Okay, so there was my fall card for that project, and I did have a couple questions that I found. I'm hoping I'm getting everybody's questions answered. Now I know Diana was on Facebook and was having a tough time commenting, so she switched over to my website at DDStamps.com, and she can comment from there, and I do get a notification when somebody's commented. So if you have a question, ask away. Lucy, didn't get to see the window card. Something happened and it quit. Okay, Lucy, so I took that window. Can you see the little snow in there? Well, it moves around. It's kind of fun. It makes a shaker card. I just attached it to a base of a card and then used a little of the designer series paper. This was actually the Seasons of Cheer. And what I like about our designer paper this year, especially in the Occasions mini catalog, is that it, like, one side is very Christmassy and one side is not. So same thing with the Halloween paper. One side is very, this isn't a word, but Halloweenish, and one side is not. And so it just gives a real versatile paper that you can use for any occasion. So that's that answer to that. And I like this little tip. Sonia, so she's got this fun foam, and she said that she picks it up at, I think Walmart or something. But anyway, she uses this to stamp with her photopolymer stamps. So sometimes our photopolymer stamps need a little bit of cushion. I use our paper piercing mat, but this is perfect because it's thin enough to stamp on. It just gives a little bit of a cushion and gets a good impression. So thank you for those little tips, ladies. That's what I love about these things, is that I can learn from you guys and you can learn from me. Okay, so, I suppose I'm probably on film. Thankfully, I figured that out. I'm going to bring back my slides and just show you the quick. This was the supplies used for that particular fall card. Christine, she asked me a question. She said something about why couldn't she use her StazOn with making these cards? And she actually could. Stampin' Up's Basic Black Archival ink is new. I like it. I just like the color. I like the black, the way it, I like the black. I like the color of it. I like how it stamps. And it does still stain the photopolymers, but it cleans them up. The StazOn really stains the photopolymers. And don't get me wrong, I used it all the time. But I would not recommend, do not use the StazOn cleaner on your photopolymers, because that's not so good for them. But you could use any kind of a black ink that's waterproof for watercoloring. It all works. So I hope I got all those questions answered. We're getting close. I have another card. Oh, this one's fun. I think you'll like this card. I personally like it, and I learned.
Yes, it is.
Oh, sorry. Siri's talking to me. I learned this card technique down at Founder Circle from another demonstrator. So this is cute card. This is the front of the card. This is the front of the card, and this is on the inside of the card. So it's a little 3D card. And I was surprised at how easy it was to make. So here we go.
Stampers, Diane Dimich here with DDStamps.com, and today I'm here to show you how to make this card. This is a really fun card. It's kind of, not too elaborate on the outside, but when you open it up, it is awesome. It's sculpted, so you have a great card that could sit in somebody's office desk or on their mantle, and it just shows a wonderful little Christmas scene out the window. So let me show you how easy this one is to do. So to begin with, I took a 12 by 12 sheet of our Whisper White cardstock, and I actually cut this down to 5.5 by 12, and I'm going to put this into my scoring, my Simply Score tool, and I'm going to score it, and I'm going to score it at 4, 7.5, 8, and 11.5. And I will list all these measurements and all the supplies that I use today on my website if you want to click and visit that so that you can get the instructions for doing this. But it's actually just 4, 7.5, 8.5, and 11.5. Super easy to do. And this is going to be your card. And so to begin with, you're just going to fold on those score lines. That you've made. And just remember that this is actually going to be the inside of your card, this section here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in and I'm using Designer Series paper, and I'm actually using the pack called Season of Cheer. This is a great little pack of paper. It comes with lots of different, 12 different designs, double-sided. Some looks very Christmassy, some does not look so Christmassy, so it can be used year-round. But I'm going to start with a couple of pieces for the inside of my card, and these actually measure 3.5 by 5.5, and then I have a piece for the outside of my card that's 3 3/4 by 5 1/4. And so I'm going to take one of these pieces, and somewhere I have snail, a little bit of snail adhesive. And I'm going to add this right in between those score lines on that piece of cardstock. It should fit fairly snug. Sometimes I get it cut just a little bit off, and I might have to trim a little bit. And put that on there. That looks good. So that's going to be my wall of my card. Once I've done that, I'm going to come in. I'm going to use today the stamp set Happy Scenes with the matching framelits for the window. And then I'm also using our square framelits. And I'm actually going to pull out, I think it's a 2.5-inch square out of that. And I'm going to cut a hole right through that cardstock with this square framelit. So I'll be right back. I'm going to run this through the Big Shot. And once I've got that cut, I'll come back in here and I'm just going to pull those pieces out. And then I've got an opening for my window. So there's the beginning of that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and take my window frame and my windowsill, and I'm going to use some Night of Navy cardstock. I just have a scrap piece here, and I'm going to go ahead and cut these 2 pieces and run those through the Big Shot. Okay, so here are my 2 pieces for the window and then the windowsill. And so those are ready to go. And then I'm going to come in with a piece of shimmery white cardstock. And this happens to be 3 1/4 by 4 1/4, and this is the one we're going to stamp on and do a little watercoloring with. And so I'm going to come in with the pine trees from the Happy Scenes stamp set, which comes with lots of great stamps. And I'm going to use our archival black ink. I'm going to ink up that stamp and stamp it down. And then I am going to come in with an aqua painter and a little soft sky. I pulled the soft sky color right from the Designer Series paper. And my aqua painter, which is a great little watercoloring tool, has water down here. But you just want to make sure that to get that going, so it starts a continuous flow of water. And then I'm just going to brush up along the horizon here and make my horizon have a little blue sky. And again, because it's watercolor, it doesn't have to be perfect. So you're just going to put a little color behind it. And the other thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to come in with a little Mossy Meadow marker. are great. This is one of our in colors, so it comes as a set of five of the in colors, but this is Mossy Meadow. It has a fine tip on one end and a brush tip on the other. I'm actually going to use the fine tip today, and I am just going to add just a little bit of green color to this tree. Just kind of adding just a little color where the branches are. That just adds a little bit of color to them. Now, we're going to put this card together and you'll see how easy it is. So I'm going to bring back my base piece. This piece of shimmery cardstock is going to go right to the back. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to hold my card kind of like I want it, and then I'm going to slide my scene to the back, kind of just so I know where it's going to come out at that window. Okay, and then I'm going to take my window and a couple of dimensionals, which of course were just laying here, and now I can't find them because I was stepping on them. So these are the dimensionals. And I'm actually going to just add a dimensional to the top and the bottom of my window. Pull those off. And the window does have a back and a front. If you'll see, if I can get this close enough, you'll see that it has little ridges around it, the frame and stuff. And then this window is just going to get taped right over the top of that opening. And then the windowsill gets put on. And on this one, I actually do put the windowsill on because that 2.5-inch square that we used to cut that opening actually leaves just a little bit of a line down here. And this windowsill can be used to cover that up. Once you've got that done, then you're going to take your tear and tape and you're going to line it up along the edge of that flap. And I line it up so it's close to the top. And you're going to pull off the tear and tape, fold this over, fold this up, bring this down, and then attach it. And once you've got it where it needs to be, then you can, close your card all the way. And that's how you do the window that opens so that it has a seam. I learned this technique from Jill Olson while I was down at Founders Circle, and I just think it's awesome. But I'm going to finish out the card. So I'm going to take this other piece of designer series paper, and this one I actually cut to fit right up to this side so that it looked like a wall of someone's home or something. Now this, like I said, sometimes I get them cut just a little bit too large, and I'll just take a scissor and trim that right off. Like that. And then the front of my card, oh, I believe it was this one. Was it this one? Yeah, but I cut it wrong. Oh no, that's for the lights. I actually cut this one for the front of my card, but I'm going to cut a different one because I want my front of my card to look like this. I just like that look. And then the lights were actually on this one. And I just fussy cut out a string of lights to go right across the top of my window. So I will hurry up and get these cut and be right back. Okay, so once you have those cut, I'm just going to go ahead and with a little snail adhesive, just on the corners or each of the ends of the lights, and I'm going to attach this string on my window. And it just really decks that out for Christmas. So there you have it. I don't know if I think I might have cut this. Well, I can do it. So I went ahead and cut this down to 4 1/4 by 3 3/4, and I'm going to add that onto the front of my card. And there you go. And the last thing that I did is I came in with one of the stamps from Among the Branches, this Making Spirits Bright, and I thought it would be really cool to have it in bright real red on the front of that card. And so you're just going to go ahead and ink up your stamp. And you just want to tap. You don't need to press hard. You just need to tap on there, make sure that you get it fully inked, and then stamp it onto your cardstock. And you can actually see it go across, the air bubble go across your stamp, and so that you know you've got the whole thing stamped and pressed. Watch that air bubble go across. And then when you pull it off, you'll have a great image like that. And then our 2-inch circle punch will line up perfectly with that. And you can just push that in there, punch that out, add a little snail, pop it onto the front of your card, and people think they're getting a great card, and then they open it up and they get a fabulous card. So I hope you enjoyed that. I will list all the supplies.
Okay, so that is my little 3D card that I did. I love it. I think I really just love this technique. I think it's just fabulous, and it's fun, and it's actually not hard to do. That was the best part about it. And another nice thing about, so here's the card, and when it opens it up, it's got that 3D look of the window. See, it's got a little space in there, but it folds perfectly flat, fits into a regular size envelope, and you can just mail it. And actually, even with all those dimensionals and stuff I put in there, I think it's still flat enough to go through the regular post office. I had tons of questions. And so if you are out there and have more questions, now would be the time to ask, because we are getting close to being done. And I just want to make sure that I answer everybody's questions. So Dorothy asked, how do I store my stamps? Dorothy, if you look right on the back wall there, I have a couple of bookshelves. I know, it's a little obsessive, but those top 2 shelves are all of my stamps. I now have them all in the new cases that have been new for a couple years. I store my stamps kind of by category in the catalog. And so I have like all occasions, and then all this, you know, and then one of the sections is, kind of funny doing this, is the holiday mini catalog. So that's how I store my stamps for now. I just use bookshelves. I like things to, I am one of those people that if I tuck it too far away, I'll forget that I own it. And I won't use it. Tracy asked, blender pen, the difference between blender pens and aqua painters. That's a great question. So the aqua painters is what I use today, mostly in all, well, in my demonstration was aqua painters. Aqua painters are great for watercoloring, and they give a light, because you're using water and with the ink, it gives a lighter version, and it moves a little more, has a little more water to it. Now, blender pen is a pen like a marker with 2 ends of brush ends on the sides, and they've got a fluid that goes in between them. You pick up ink with that either from a marker or from an ink pad, and you get a darker color. You get a stronger version of the color from the ink pad. It doesn't bleed out or blend out as much as an aqua painter. I hope that helps. I like them both. If you want your image to be like real, lots of full color, then I would recommend using a blender pen. If you wanted to have a more watercolor look, which is what I was going for tonight, use your aqua painter. So I hope that answers. Dorothy asked, oh, I lost it. Oh, no, there it is. Dorothy asked if she could use the Memento to watercolor with, and you can't, because I'm going to turn that down a little bit so those lights aren't shining in. You can't use a Memento ink pad to watercolor with because it'll bleed. Memento it'll bleed. So that's the difference there. Oh, Cheryl asked, do you use paper inside your cards? I do sometimes on my cards. Like if I have a base that's dark, but none of these, I actually did not put something in there. I haven't even put a sentiment in there at this point. I don't normally put something on the inside of my cards unless my base, like if I had used a black cardstock base on this card, I would have layered it with probably a piece of the Very Vanilla cardstock on the inside. So that's about the only time I do. Like I really used a lot of just plain bases tonight. That's interesting. And my other one was the Light Soft Sky. So the cardstock was light enough that you could still write in it. But if it's a darker cardstock that's hard to write in, I will add something on the inside and stamp it. And usually I stamp these two, but honestly, I was I was down to the wire and I wanted to make sure I got them done. So there's your answer to that one. The little squares. Drew will ask on my little window card, what do you do with the little squares? And I, at this point, have just saved them. But they would make, I mean, you could do a lot. Because they're all exactly the same shape, you could attach them onto the total front of a cardstock and give it like a quilted look. So lots of little things you can do with those little squares and rectangles. You can also use them. You could put them down on a piece of cardstock, and we have some stamps that are bows. Put them on top of those and make them presents. You can run them through texture embossing plates. Lots of things you can do with those scraps. You'll probably have them everywhere. Oh, Georgia asked what I used in the shaker card, and I used Dazzling Diamonds. I think that was her question. Yeah, it was the Dazzling Diamonds glitter. And Carmen asked over on YouTube if she could run more than one sheet of designer series paper or lighter cardstock through with a framelit, and yes, you can. I have actually cut, I think, 2 designer series papers at one time, and it's okay. And I think I got them all answered. So I will, let me pull up my slides. I'm going to run around and check. Well, I'm not going to run around. Oh, one of the things I want to tell you, I don't know if you guys heard a lot of jingling in the background of some of my videos. It's not that I'm already celebrating Christmas. It was my dog. She has a couple of things on her collar that jingle, the license and the tags and stuff. And she was just absolutely going crazy in here, jingling around. And I figured you thought it was in the video, but it wasn't. It was her. We have several deer that come at night to our yard to clean up the apples and whatnot. And this week, I had to pull down my flower baskets because the weather's changing, and they were huge. I mean, we're talking huge, big, huge hanging flower baskets, and I just stuck them out in the yard. And with, you know, in a matter of a little while, the deer had come. It's a big salad bar to them. And I'm sure that that's probably what was outside, but she was just kind of dancing around in here, but now she's tired, so she's not jingling as much. So it's not that I was celebrating Christmas early. It's just the dog going a little crazy. Okay, let's pull up this card. Oh, I wanted to show you the slide. Quickly, this is the supplies that I used to make that card. And it's like it said, it's not hard. Oh, somebody asked about the paper. If you didn't have 12 by 12 inch paper, I used a 5.5 by 12 inch sheet. You could actually do this card. Your measurements will be a little bit different. And because our cardstock is 8.5 by 11, so you could, somewhere you're gonna have to knock off an inch, and probably in like 1/2 inch intervals. I don't know. I should send that to my daughter and have her engineer that one for me. No, I actually, if I sat down, I could actually plan it out, and I will attempt to do that. Maybe. No, I will try. Oh, this was just a couple of cards I found today out on the internet, and I just loved that they used that window stamp. They used some of the stamps that are in that Happy Scenes. And then on this one here where they did the branch and the birds, but all the different color papers and cardstock, it just shows you that this is a very versatile stamp set. It could be used all year long. Anything can happen inside that window. So that's just kind of fun. That was one of my favorites. So this month's tutorial is the Peaceful Pines tutorial. It's a great one. It's got several different cards done with Peaceful Pines. One of the things that I loved about this particular tutorial is that it you can use it like a map. So for instance, change your stamps, change the colors of your paper, and you will have a great birthday card. This is actually Christmas centered, but you honestly just use those measurements in that tutorial and use lots of different stamps or papers or whatnot, and it would be great. So don't, just because you get a tutorial that's for Christmas, it can be used all year round. Oh my goodness. Okay, there's a ton of questions. Mary says she was late. Is there a way I can watch the video tomorrow? Yeah, it will be. This has all been taped, and it will be up on YouTube, and it'll also actually be on Facebook too. So you can just watch it anytime, Mary. Cheryl loves the cards. Thank you. Dorothy loves the cards. Thank you. What is in the gutter? It looks like one on the wall. Oh, it is. Okay. I got a little nervous about what is in the gutter. I'm going to pull it up so people can actually peek over there and look. If you look over here on the gutter, it is a rain gutter, and it's all of my ribbon. Well, not all of it, because you can see I have some on the shelf back here. that is a gutter, but all of the ribbons fit nicely down inside there. A lot of the things that I used to have to store my ribbon had like a dowel going through it all. And sometimes I just like to pull my ribbon and use the thing next to me. I didn't like pulling everything off the dowel to get to the one I needed. And so a rain gutter worked perfect. So thanks for noticing. I like that. So like I said, remember that this tutorial can be used for anything. I am going to swing around quickly. Check. Yes, so Julie asked, any moose in town yet? Oh yes, we have several moose that are living here. They haven't seen them in our yard yet, but they will be here shortly. If they don't hurry up, they're going to miss out on the apples because the deer are eating them all as fast as they can. Julie also said, wonderful card ideas. You're welcome. Thanks for showing up. This is fun, and it's a great way for me to share with everybody. Georgia said, what about using StazOn to watercolor with? You can. There's no problem with StazOn. I always use StazOn before we got our new archival ink. I just really like the way it stamps. Katrina can hear and see me. That's great. Thanks. Stacy, you're welcome for the tips. Mary loves my 3D card. Thanks, Mary. Stacy, you're welcome. Could someone adjust the 3D card if you don't have to a paper? Yeah, like I said, I will try to figure that one out. Okay, and Sonia loved the ideas for this card. Joy, did you skip my question? I did not. I'm going to go back and look for it. Francie says, you could fussy cut the tree or Santa from the Home for Christmas Designer Series paper and make one looking inside the window. Yes. They're very cute. There's people out there that have done this. That Home for Christmas Designer Series paper is to die for. It's so cute. Love the 3D card. Would love to be able to case it. Please, Lorraine, go ahead. Case it. I am all about copying and sharing. Joy, didn't get your question, so put it back up there. I can't find it. Okay. Yeah, Mary, a gutter. Seriously? I know lots of people do that. Okay, so let's get back to the slides. Let me run to the next slide. Let's see what we got going on here. Oh, weekly deals. These are the weekly deals for this week. That's always a plus to have a weekly deal. Don't forget Stamp Out Breast Cancer. Anybody that signs up for Paper Pumpkin or is already a Paper Pumpkin subscriber, if you are a subscriber by the October 10th and that kit gets shipped out to you next week, you will have donated $1 to the Breast Cancer Research Foundation. If you are a brand new subscriber to Paper Pumpkin, you will have donated $2. So that's exciting. I am going to have a great goodie package. I do want to tell those people that attended my Halloween workshop. I had ordered all the products to send out to everybody. Thought that there was some paper, some of the Halloween paper was on back order. Thought it would be here by this week and just checked and it's not going to be here till probably next week. So I packaged up all the rest of your supplies and I shipped them off today. So you should get them in the mail next week. And then when I get the next batch of the Halloween paper, I will send out that to you too. You should have it before, of course, before Halloween. So I'm hoping that I can get those into the mail by next Thursday. So you should have them the week following. So I'm sorry about that, but nothing I can do about back orders. It happens. If you use the Hostess code in the next 48 hours, I will provide you with a package of goodies. It just depends on what I decide to order. When we use the Hostess code, everybody kind of gets put into a pot, and then I divide it up and mail it out to everybody. If your order happens to be over $150, you should seriously consider becoming Stampin' Up! Demonstrator because it's only $100 or $99 for $125 of the product. But if you do decide to place an order that's $150 or more, please do not use the Hostess code. Just add Stampin' Up! Will give you Stampin' rewards for that. There's a little place in the shopping cart to reclaim your rewards. I would rather have you have them than not get them. So, but if you do place a $150 order, you'll still get a goodie packet from me. Just so you are aware. Okay, guess what time it is? Is that it? Oh, door prize drawing. So if you click on, gosh, if you click on a door prize button on Facebook, there's a little button to press. On YouTube, it's down in the description. There's a link to do the door prize. Click on that. We're going to give away a great little packet of designer series paper. Wait till I show you. And I will give away something. Let's see. Pam's going to use the gutter in her stamp room. I know, it's awesome. You're welcome, Teresa. Oh, yeah, Carol, sometimes Carol just asked if she's seeing anything else, but sometimes I jump back and forth between seeing me and then seeing my screens. So you should all be filling out the door prize slip, and I will be picking, and I'm coming back on because I got to show you this door prize because it is awesome. Okay, so this is the door prize. These are 4x6 sheets of designer series paper. It's every designer series paper that is in the big catalog. It's a sample of each kind. Who wouldn't love that? How I do my door prize drawing is I write down a number on a sheet of paper. So number 24 is going to be the winner. Everybody that fills out a form, and there is one on TypePad, so, or on my website. So down below, click that button and fill out that door prize slip. Everybody fills it out. It populates it into a spreadsheet, and I pick whoever stuff lands on number 24 as the winner for the door prize. Oh, I have more questions. I like to take a little bit of time because some people are lagging behind us, so it just takes a little bit. Yeah, Sharon asked, is that your dog in the background? Yes, the dog jingle belling is in the background. Beth loves the idea of the fun foam. And Sharon loves the gutter, the ribbon gutter. I've got a few people that have sent me emails and asked me long questions, and I can't answer them right now, but I will send you an email. Right now I'm just checking. Oh, here, Sharon Shar from British Columbia, Canada says that she is able to get her fun foam at her local dollar store. Cool. Like I said, honest to gosh, if we can get fun foam here in Red Lodge, Montana, you guys have it in your towns too. Just go to the local craft store or hardware store. Linda asked if you could use markers instead of watercolor. You certainly could use markers. That was just the technique I was showing tonight. And Pam loves the 3D card. I do too. I do too. And last question over on TypePad. I can see and hear you clearly. Oh, great. Cool. Jean can hear me. That's awesome. Okay, so let's go to the winner. Oh, Julie asked, are you going to do another holiday show soon? Yeah, I'm going to do another one on a Saturday, probably the 24th of October. It's on a Saturday morning. It'll be at 10 o'clock. I like to do them at different times because I got people all over the world at different time zones. So yeah, we'll do another one October 24th. It's a Saturday, and I am actually planning to do 2 a month of the actual workshops, and then I'll throw, I threw a Halloween one in there for the fun of it, and I did a little event for World Card Making Day. So these are fun, and I love to do them. It's fun to answer people's questions. So let's find out who the winner is. Winner, chicken dinner. Boom, 24. Teresa. Okay, Teresa, and your email address is, looks like tlkmetts@icloud.com. You are the winner of the designer series paper, and you will need to send me an email. I need your address so I can send it out to you. You didn't give me a last name, so that's all the information I have is your email. So I hope that you are still on and that you have won. And if she's not, I will have 2 drawings next time around. Okay, so there's a whole bunch of comments. Tracy can never get the door prize form to work. It never loads for me. Well, Tracy, that makes me sad. So send me your address and I will send you one of the cards that I made tonight. That makes me really sad. I'm sorry to hear that. But yeah, send me your address and I will put one out in the mail to you. How do you store your ink pads? Oh, Dorothy, how do I store my ink pads? I have ink pad store. Yeah, that's good word usage. I actually have, can you see it? Okay, see where my punches are back there in the corner? The ink pad thing is next to it. And it's just a slotted board that holds all. I've had it for years. I bet I bought it 15, yeah, probably 10, 15 years ago, that I store mine in. Stampin' Up! Does have a carousel. I just didn't like the way it fit. I didn't like the way it fit for my counter space. I like it up against the wall. Joy had just sent me a message, and her question was actually, is there a pattern for the shaker card? And there will be as soon as I get a little bit of time. Okay. I got it this time, Joy. Thanks. Lynette and I are going to meet up in Vancouver, Washington for an on stage. I can hardly wait to meet you, Lynette. I think that's exciting. I have several other demonstrators that are going with me or meeting me there that I have never met before. So this is kind of exciting for us. So I answered that question. Tracy's going to send me her information. Tracy lost her sound. Sorry. Georgia loves the paper. Kim just posted, Ann Craig is the demonstrator that first blogged about stamping on the embossing folder. Please give her credit. I will. That's awesome, and I'm thankful to her for sharing. And Tracy says I'm back. Okay, so if that's it, if nobody has any other questions, I just ran around. It looks like mostly people are just saying thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you guys for coming. It makes my job fun, and I love to share that with you all. So I hope you have a great night. I ran 15 minutes over again, but those things happen. So take care and have a great night. Bye.